Is there a clicker by any chance? No, right?
I don't think so.
No. Am I good to start, or do you guys should I wait a few more minutes?
You can go.
Oh, wow. Alright, everyone. Hi, my name is Tanzin Lama. I'm a senior at Sobel Co. I work in the audit department. The industries that I work in are broker-dealers, which falls under financial services. I also do nonprofits, and I do benefit plans. So I guess we'll get ahead with the presentation. So these are some of the things that we're gonna be discussing today. Just about Sobel, who we are, our core values, our cultures, our internship program, and any advices that we might have for you guys. So we were founded about 60 years ago by Bernie Sobel. In 1990, we moved to Livingston, and we're still based in Livingston currently. Alan Sobel is the managing partner currently as well. Fun fact, he actually got his master's degree from FDU, this particular campus, so that was kind of interesting. As you can see, we've been growing since we were first founded, especially within the last 10 years. We've been acquiring or merging with different companies. Most recently, we merged with Barbershop Zero, and they're based in Woodcliff, so now we have 2 different locations. As you can see by the employee counts here, we're kind of a mid-sized firm. We're kind of reaching the 200 employee level, I guess. Yeah, but here are our numbers. Just like how you guys are part of Read Office I, we're part of Allineal Global. It consists of numerous different accounting firms that are kind of mid-sized, and they provide different opportunities and services to us. Learning and development. So one thing that they put together for us is a training program every single year. So this past July, I was in Vegas for 3 days just learning about accounting. So every year they sent us training to different locations. They provide resources for HR, international connection, technical support, communities and practice, and then marketing resources, IT and practice management. I'm not too familiar with things like HR or IT, but I definitely use several of their resources. So these are some of the services that we provide. Audit and accounting, I kind of fall under that with audit. Taxes, core services. Core services is basically bookkeeping. These are some of the consulting services that we provide. Business advisory service, corporate governance, mergers and acquisitions, and strategic planning. We also have a small forensic accounting department, litigation support, valuation and strategy, and STAG. STAG is our economics department. So these are some of the industries or niches that we specialize in. Construction, manufacturing, distribution. With manufacturing, the most exciting client that I've been on was a semiconductor producer. So these are just little pieces that go into like airplanes and like technological devices. Our biggest area is nonprofit. We also provide services in entrepreneurial and family-owned businesses, retail services, that's mostly grocery stores, real estate practice, professional services like legal services, technology, media, and fashion. So these are our core values. Kind of go along with the word encourage. It acts like an acronym, I guess. Ethical and trustworthy behavior, no compromise on quality, caring about our people and community, outstanding client services, understanding diversity, reaching for responsibility, allowing yourself to be passionate about your career, growth and learning, and encouraging each other to fulfill these core values. So this is kind of like giving you a glimpse into our culture. We have a fun committee. They kind of put together random events for us throughout the year. Like we just celebrated half Christmas. We had like a hot sauce competition. The other side of our culture is just giving back to the community. We'll talk more about that later. One of the things that is told to mention is that we were ranked among the best places to work in New Jersey, and we were also on the 2017 New Jersey Monthly Green. We received the Great Books Award. Continuing on with our culture, okay, so with the themed lunches, breakfast for lunch, I feel like that mostly happens during busy season where we're all in on Saturdays, so the partners, they get together and they cook breakfast for us. Heritage Day, just bringing food from all over the world, from wherever you guys are. We have a food truck festival. Some of the things I do love about my firm is the health initiatives that we take. Fitbit contest, yep, always striving for that 10,000 step goal. We also like to think about not just you performing well and just doing your work, because of your mental health, I guess. So we have like meditation sessions at Sobel. I'll continue on with what we do during tax seasons. They provide massage services for us just to get our mind off of work for at least like 15 minutes. And that's about it. So the hoop board is kind of what we use to just keep up to date with what's going on around the organization. Since, like I mentioned, we do have about 200 people in the organization. So it's nice to get updates like, oh, someone got married or any other event. So these are just some of the pictures showing how we kind of, the different events that we have in the organization. The one where everyone's wearing the Sobel shirt, that's from one of our baseball games that we had. So these are just some other pictures of the events. I believe this picture is from another training that took place just a few years ago. Just beer carts that we have. We always have a poker tournament, so that's the picture in the middle. And to celebrate our hard work, we always have an employee appreciation day where they just pull in food trucks and we just enjoy our time. So as I mentioned before, giving back to the community is important to Sobel. One way that I have clearly seen that is through our Sobel Co service day. It's usually just a day where everyone is just forced to not work and we just pick one nonprofit organization every year and we dedicate our time and services to that organization. We constantly have blood drives, toy drives. We have various collections for different charities, and hence the reason why we won the New Jersey Monthly Great Oaks Award. So these are some of the pictures from our service days. It all, it's just different organizations that we have been supporting. This in particular was for a food bank that we were all helping out at. So we have been listed under the best places to work in New Jersey for 8 consecutive years. This one doesn't include 2019. So some of the benefits and advantages of working at Sobel. Some items to mention are competitive compensation, participation in incentive bonus programs, benefit packages, gym reimbursement that I use, tuition reimbursement, dress for your day. So today I went to the office and just dressed however I felt most comfortable. And depending on whether you're going to be at the office or at the client, you dress according to your day. So there are chances to specialize in functional or niche areas. So like I said before, I chose the 3 industries I kind of wanted to become involved in, and they kind of support you and lead you along that path. Individual attention, including a mentoring program. So currently I have 2 mentors, who one of which is a manager and the other is a partner, so they just help you throughout your journey of in the accounting industry. So that goes along with the commitment to everyone's success. So summer hours, those things are fun. So as long as you get your 40 hours of work, you can take every other Friday off. So that's mostly just implemented just during the summer. And involvement in firm initiatives. And now it doesn't want to work.
The slide numbers changing. No, it's
I can go back, but I can't go. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we usually have 2 types of internships, a tax season internship and an audit intern. Currently we're looking for tax interns. So what that would include is just having at least 3 days out of the week dedicated to working at Sobel. You don't need to take any tax classes. We're mostly going to be processing the tax returns, so we'll teach you everything from scratch. The audit summer internship, so that was the reason why I fell in love with audit when I did my summer internship. I don't think we're looking for anyone right now, but potentially, I guess they'll reach out to you when we're looking for interns. We're mostly looking for juniors or master's students. You would have to dedicate your summer Monday through Thursday during the summer. And you'll mostly be focusing on nonprofit and benefit plans. And so the service day that I had mentioned before, it's mostly put together by the interns. So if you do happen to be working at Sobel, you would be working on some type of philanthropy project as well. So these are some of the differences between a mid-sized firm like the one I work at compared to a Big 4 firm. Personally, not having worked at a Big 4 firm, I can't really attest to this, but here are some of the things that I am to mention to you. The types of clients differ. What I've heard is the clients that I kind of deal with, they're mostly smaller organizations. I feel like my friends, when I talk to them who do work for Big 4, they mention all these big named organizations and companies that I'm sure you guys are well aware of. So exposure to all practice areas and industries. My first 2 years as an auditor, I was able to they kind of put you wherever they need you. So you don't get to choose like a specific industry. So they're like, oh, I need you in nonprofit. I need you in like financial services, whatever. Like you just go with the flow. So that's why you get kind of an exposure to it all. So the areas you will work on during engagement. So going along with that, for my discussions with my friends who do work at these companies, Big 4 companies, they've mentioned that they focus on one area, say like accounts receivable. They spend weeks and weeks just working in that one particular area, and compared to someone who works at Sobel where the organization is smaller. So in that same amount of time frame, you would be touching all these different areas. So who you work with as well. There are several clients that I work on where the link is from me to the partner. There's no one else in between to kind of manage me. So you get that one-on-one, I guess, interaction with the partner. And the hours. Accounting, especially public accounting, is an over 40-hour work week for sure. But I believe that we definitely do work less than those at Big Four companies. Life as a staff accountant. So my first 2 years, training. So we have training throughout the year, but the one big moment of training that I kind of recall is when we are forced to take 3 days and just dedicate that to a millennial global training. I've had that every year since I started at Sobel. Types of assignment, like I said before, you're going to kind of be touching every single area of the organization. Where clients are located. Especially as a staff accountant, you're kind of forced to just go to the client locations. Like as you move up in the hierarchy, I guess, you don't have to go to the client as often. But my first 2 years, it was constant traveling between the tri-state area for me, because that's kind of our where we kind of focus our businesses. Busy season. Busy season is definitely a lot easier as a staff accountant, and as you move up, you're expected to put more hours, dedicate more time. So it's not that bad as a staff accountant. Working with multiple bosses. Like I mentioned before, the first 2 years you're going to be working for different organizations in different industries. So you're going to be working with different people with different expectations. So you're going to have to learn how to manage it all. Work-life balance. I feel like that's something that we're all kind of trying our best to figure out, because even now I'm sure you guys have, some of you guys work and you go to school, just figuring it out, figuring out the balance. It's different for everyone. I'm sure you guys are well aware, but these are the different careers in accounting. Public accounting, you can go with accounting and audit, tax, forensic accounting, consulting, IT audit. Private industry, you can become an internal auditor, or corporate and finance, become involved in corporate finance and accounting. You could become a teacher, you could work for the government, different areas. You guys have definitely heard about the big CPA exam. I hope you guys all study for it like right after school and just get it done before you start working, because I think that's the best strategy. But there are 4 different parts to this exam. Regulations are reg, financial, bar, audit, and business. Yeah, like it says, start studying right away. So you can follow us on social media at Sobel Co_life. So these are the 2 people, the 2 important people in our firm. Molly Lockwood, who is our HR manager or director of HR, and Emily Grease, our recruiting and retention person. Any questions about anything?
You're saying you're not looking for any tax internships right now?
Oh, we are. We're, well, yeah, I think we're, yeah.
I'm interested in a tax internship for summer. Do you have one available?
No.
For summer.
So usually the trend is we look for tax interns during the winter, because from January to April it's like a crazy busy season for tax specifically.
Okay.
And then it's also busy for audit, but no one likes to help us at audit. But during the summer we tend to, it's kind of changing now, but in the past we tend to be less busy, and we were able to give more time to interns to help teach them what audit is, I guess, all about. But yeah, and currently we're not looking for, we usually don't look for anyone for tax during the summer.
Oh, you haven't started looking for people for audit for the summer either.
Yeah, in the past, I'm not the recruiter, but yeah, but in the past, I thought they kind of did it together. Maybe they kind of changed it up. I mean, I can check and get back to you guys on that. That it?
You said when you first started your first 2 years, you were staff accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly did you do? Like when you first started, did they just strictly just train you, or did you do hands-on?
Yeah, both. Both. Like the first week is like training, and then it's like, all right, do it. And it's really different from what you learn in school. Like it helps that you know what everything kind of means, but the way that like it's like learning in theory versus applying it in practice. So it's kind of different, but I think you guys will get it. You'll get it. Like
You said there were anyone between you and the partners, so it was easy for you to get help. Like if you were like stuck on something, you just go to them, or you have to.
It depends, because my first 2 year, there was definitely someone there. But now, like as you progress and as a company acquires new companies, they're willing to give you the task and just say, hey, like, can you work on this with this partner? And it's like, okay, like, I'll do it.
How long were you given for each task?
Like for each client, it depends on the job. Like this past summer, I worked on benefit plans, and for that, it's like you need maybe like 2 days of planning, and like 3 days of field work, and then like 2 more days to wrap up any open items. So it could be an open and close like audit within 2 weeks there. And then there are other organizations where you're at the client for like 3 weeks, and then it's like a whole month of just working on that one client. It all depends. Yeah.
How would you describe your typical workday going into the office until you leave later on that day?
Okay. So this is where I'm at the office. It really kind of depends on how your own schedule is set up with the HR person as well. Because personally, I'm someone who can't really wake up that early. So I get to the office around like 9:30, 10. But then I stay later until like 7:30, 8. Like you tend to not take a lunch break just so you could get more work done. So you kind of eat at your desk, I guess. That tends to happen a lot more often than it should. But like just I'm at my desk the entire time. But that's kind of standard in our industry. Sorry, I feel like I'm like bringing everyone down. Any other questions? Yes.
Did you find that like having an auditing internship and having a job in accounting helped you like study for CPA exam?
So I'm still studying.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I think like having an internship, maybe it did help, but I would say just still like get it done ahead of time. Like you don't want to be working and studying, and it just gets too much. So just get your CPA done.
I'm just wondering, for your 150, did you pursue a master's in accounting, or?
No, actually, so I'm still working on that too. I graduated with about 146 credits with undergrad, and my plan is just to go back and take, whatever class and just get the credit. But I think probably pursuing your master is probably beneficial, because it's like another way that you can kind of study for the exam. It's like reinforcing what you kind of already learned during undergrad. Is that it? Any questions?
Oh, probably the other
Oh. I like completely ignored them. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm good. I do. You had accounting has options in education. Can you expand on that?
Would you like to expand on that? I feel like you're an expert at that.
So is that what we were wondering? Is that what you're talking about? Academic careers?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. You really need a PhD or DBA to do that, I'd say. Not so much a master's anymore.
Oh. I will let them know to fix that slide. Okay. Is that it? Any other questions?
I have a question. Does Sobel hire before students graduate with 150?
Yes.
So you'll hire with a 4-year degree as opposed to the 150 hours?
Yes. I think that's how I was hired. But through like my internship first, like that's how they like to do it. Once you're an intern, they like to pick from that pool.
No more questions here.
Okay. Any other questions? Going once, going twice.